Well, it's no secret that America's nuclear weapons stockpile is aging, and the Pentagon is spending more than $600 billion to keep the potentially lethal weapons in fighting shape. And it seems that one of these massive investments has already secretly paid off in 2022 when the Air Force successfully tested a new secret stealth missile armed with a dummy version of a novel nuclear warhead. Well, I guess the only thing deadlier than a nuclear missile is a super sneaky invisible one.
Wow! You kind of just snuck up on me there, man.
I fear you're underestimating the sneakiness, sir.
We talk about it next on Maximus. Greetings, everybody. Maximus here. Well, all the way back in May of 2017, U.S. Air Force General Robin Rand, commander of the U.S. Air Force Global Strike Command, had told members of Congress that the new long-range standoff missile would be a reliable, long-ranging, and survivable weapon system, and an absolutely essential element to the nuclear triad. The LRSO missile will ensure the bomber force continues to hold high-value targets at risk in an evolving threat environment, including targets deep within an area of denied environment. Well, fast forward to today. According to a new report in the Air and Space Forces magazine, in a recently released Pentagon report, the United States Air Force classified long-range standoff or LRSO stealth missile has completed at least 9 successful tests, culminating in a major power-on free flight test of all major system elements in October of 2022. And even better, the program appears to be on schedule, which is rare for any U.S. government project, though the Air Force is withholding the system's planned initial operation capability date. According to the Pentagon, selected acquisition reports for 2022, released in September of this year, during the October 2022 test, the Raytheon-built LRSO completed the first full system integrated test, demonstrating design, manufacturing, and navigation maturing. Of the 8 other tests conducted since February of 2022, 4 powered up the missile's engine, the Air Force said. All tests were conducted using 2 B-52 platforms specially modified for LRSO testing. It was in March of 2023 that the Air Force announced that the LRSO passed its critical design review, but the Air Force didn't release the results of the testing data of the missile until now. The data in the acquisition reports reflects information as of December 2022, so it's a pretty sure bet that even more LRSO tests have taken place since then. The LRSO will replace the AGM-86B air-launched cruise missile as part of the airborne component of the U.S.'s nuclear triad. The AGM-86 air-launched cruise missile is a long-range air-launched standoff missile that carries a 2-kiloton nuclear warhead and is designed to give U.S. bombers the ability to launch their payload from outside of the range of anti-aircraft weapons. It is a central element of the United States Strategic Bomber Force. For those of you that may be unfamiliar with the nuclear triad, the U.S. nuclear triad is a 3-sided military force structure consisting of land-launched nuclear missiles, nuclear missile-armed submarines, and strategic aircraft with nuclear bombs and missiles. The triad was a central element of the U.S. military strategy since the Cold War. The theory underlying the triad was that spreading the assets comprising the country's extensive nuclear arsenal across various weapons platforms would make the force more likely to survive an attack by the Soviet Union and be able to respond to a first strike successfully. And even though the Cold War is over, the threat of nuclear weapons is not, so the triad must continue to be maintained and updated regularly. The Air Force says it will equip the B-52s with the new top-secret stealth missiles, but also later will arm the new B-21 Raider stealth bomber. The program's original plan was to build 1,020 missiles, plus 67 for testing, but current planned production figures are classified. U.S. Air Force top brass have said in the last few years that a conventional variant of the missile is not planned, but they haven't ruled out such a version in the future. According to the Pentagon report, 9 successful flight tests in 2022 demonstrated that the LRSO's ability to safely separate from the B-52 deployment of the missile's flight surfaces, engine operations and flight control actuations, and capture controlled flight after deployment from the B-52 platform. The culmination of the project came in October when the program demonstrated safe missile separation from the B-52, missile flight control deployment, engine start, and extended range operation, warhead aiming, flight discrimination events, collection of flight environment, and fire down sequence data for the warhead, and advanced navigation along mission plan route using an operationally relevant mission data file. The Air Force said all test objectives were met. The Air Force added that the missile is meeting or exceeding all 6 of its key performance parameters and attributes. Early on in the program, the target date for initial operation capability was set as May 2030, with November 2030 being the not later than date. However, the Air Force declined to publish the current estimate, deeming it controlled, unclassified information. A designation of CUI means the information is not secret, but when combined with other open information in the report could reveal sensitive program details. The Air Force also did not disclose the cost per unit of the LRSO, but said procurement is running about 6.7% below baseline estimates. What? A government project under budget? I think that'll change. While total procurement is estimated to be about $900 million over the baseline estimate, research, development, test, and evaluation is running about $400 million below the baseline estimate of $6.7 billion. Military construction is coming in at about $6 million below the baseline estimate of $134 million. The Air Force said in places where costs have gone up has been due to inflation and overruns in discrete labor tasks. Some tasks required more support than originally planned, while others are a result of inefficiencies necessary to hold the schedule. The Air Force added that where the schedule has slipped, it has been driven by non-critical path material delays or castings in structures. However, it has applied workarounds by substituting hardware generated during the technical maturation and risk reduction, or TMRR phase. The Air Force says the LRSO is intended to have a service life of 30 years. A modular open system architecture is being applied to the LRSO, which will allow other defense contractors to bid on upgrades and modifications in the future, as well as the lifecycle process such as logistical support, sustainment, and technology insertion. Also, in calendar year 2022, the LRSO successfully completed 9 of 10 subsystem critical design reviews, or SCDRs, demonstrating design maturity of the LRSO cruise missile subsystems. Additionally, the program completed 10 of 13 SCDRs, demonstrating design maturity of associated LRSO peculiar support equipment, or PSC as the Air Force calls it. Man, the military sure loves them some abbreviations. The LRSO program is funded across the future years defense program in accordance with independent cost estimates from the Pentagon's Cost Assessment and Program Evaluation, the Air Force said. There are no significant software-related issues with the program at this time. Elsewhere in the report, the service added that there are no known risks with this program at this time. Only a single problem, which was mentioned in the Air Force report, which the Air Force said would be resolved by May of 2023, involved a fit problem in the B-52's weapons bay. And obviously, since May was months ago and the tests were successful, they fixed that problem. But at the time, the Air Force said the problem was that current calculations indicate that when 4 or more missiles are loaded onto the rotary launcher, the stores clash with the fuel tank. However, late word is that that problem has been repaired and risk has been fully mitigated. But some of you may be thinking that, hey, missiles move so fast, why would you even need to have them be stealth? Well, that's true in the case of intercontinental ballistic missiles that travel out of the atmosphere at over 15,000 miles per hour and are supersonic and fly at 21 times the speed of sound. However, missiles like the ones we're talking about here are subsonic, so they travel much slower and fly below the speed of sound, and they can be detected by radar and targeted. That's why the stealth component is such an advantage. That is until the Chinese steal the secrets, and they probably already have, but that's a story for a different day. Well, that's going to wrap it up for now. If you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the merch shop and buy me a coffee links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And of course, remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.